If you're a man over 60 and still masturbate, I want to tell you something no one else probably has. You're not broken, you're not strange, and you're certainly not alone. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and for over 3 decades, I've sat with men who've quietly asked the same question you may be carrying right now. Is this still okay? Sometimes they ask it with hesitation. Sometimes they don't ask at all. But I can see it in their eyes. And beneath that question lives something deeper, fear. Fear that something's wrong, that their body is changing and they don't know why. That pleasure which once felt simple now feels confusing or even wrong. But the truth is, your body is not the problem. The problem is the silence. No one taught you how to navigate this part of aging. But that changes today because you deserve real answers, not shame. 1. The silence that follows you. Let's be honest, this topic still feels heavy, doesn't it? Even now, even after all these years, you've been through so much, learned to navigate illness, loss, aging, and yet somehow the subject of self-pleasure still sits in the corner like an unwanted guest. It's the kind of thing no one really taught you about, not when it mattered. Most of you didn't grow up with real sex education. You grew up with hushed tones, sidelong glances, maybe a warning or two from a teacher, a pastor, a parent. And when it came to masturbation, the message was loud in its silence. Don't talk about it. Don't ask about it. Don't admit to it. For some, it came wrapped in religious guilt. For others, it was just a quiet shame passed down like an old coat, worn not because it fit, but because it was all you had. And now, decades later, you find yourself standing in unfamiliar territory. Your body has changed. Your needs have changed. And yet, the only map you were ever given for this part of your life was a blank one. So what happens? You search for answers, maybe online, maybe in the quiet hours when no one's watching, and all you find are contradictions. One article says masturbation protects your prostate. Another says it drains your energy. One study links it to longevity. Another whispers warnings about desensitization and hormone imbalances. Friends joke about it. Society ignores it. And doctors, well, unless you ask directly, even they rarely bring it up. And so you're left wondering, which is it? Is this act healing me or quietly harming me? Am I nurturing something sacred or just wearing down a part of myself I don't fully understand anymore? That's the gap we're going to fill, not with judgment, not with fear, but with truth, clear, grounded, respectful truth that treats your body not as something broken or embarrassing, but as something worth honoring. Because self-pleasure isn't about being young or reckless. It's about staying connected to a part of you that never stopped needing care. And it's time we finally talked about it. 2. The questions you never asked. Here's something few people ever say out loud, but I want to tell you plainly because you deserve to hear it. Most men over 60 still masturbate. In fact, more than half do. But almost none of them feel confident about how it's affecting their health. And the reason is simple. No one ever taught them. You see, when you've lived your life being told that pleasure is taboo, it doesn't just disappear with age. It goes underground. It becomes private, hidden, even from yourself. So you keep doing what you've always done, in the same way you did at 30 or 40. But now you notice changes. Maybe it doesn't feel as good. Maybe your body responds differently. Maybe you're left with more questions than answers afterward. You wonder, is this still healthy? Is it helping me or harming me? And all you get back is silence. That silence is what breaks my heart, because in that silence, confusion takes root. Fear creeps in, shame lingers, and the one act that could have been healing or clarifying becomes yet another thing you carry alone. Most doctors won't bring it up unless you do, and when they do respond, it's often cautious, clinical, or frustratingly vague. I've sat across from men, strong, capable, intelligent men, who've told me they feel like something's slipping away, but they don't know what or why. One of them, Mr. Bennett, said to me, "It used to feel natural now, it just feels strange." And he's not alone. Thousands of men your age are asking the same quiet questions, often too embarrassed to say them out loud, wondering if they're the only ones who feel this way. But they're not, and you're not either. So today, we're going to open the door that's been closed for far too long, not because there's something wrong with you, but because it's time to finally understand what's really happening beneath the surface. Because when you have knowledge, you have power. Not just the power to feel good, but the power to protect your health, your confidence, and your connection to your body in the years to come. You've earned that clarity, and I'm here to help you claim it. 3. Use the tool, not the shame. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first, but it's one of the most important truths I've come to understand in over 30 years of listening to men just like you. Masturbation isn't good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It's not a sign of weakness or a measure of strength. It's a tool, and like any tool, it can be used in ways that support your body or ways that slowly wear it down. The difference lies not in the act itself, but in the awareness behind it. And that's where most of us were left in the dark. No one ever taught you how your body would change as you aged. No one explained how nerves become more sensitive, how circulation slows, how the pelvic floor weakens without use. No one said, "Hey, this thing you've done since you were young, here's how to adjust it so it keeps serving you." So you kept doing it the way you always had. Same rhythm, same posture, same urgency. And one day, it didn't feel the same. Maybe it even hurt. Maybe afterward you felt unsettled instead of satisfied, and you wondered, did I break something? But you didn't break anything. You just never got the instruction manual for this new stage of life. I think about men like Mr. Thompson, a 72-year-old widower who told me, quietly, that he still felt desire but didn't know what to do with it. "It feels strange," he said, "like I shouldn't still want this." But he does. You do. That part of you didn't disappear. It just needs a new approach, one rooted in respect for where your body is now, not where it was 30 years ago. Because here's the thing, your body is still capable of pleasure, still wired for intimacy and sensation, but it needs you to meet it where it is, not with shame, not with the old rules, with curiosity, with care, with the same patience you've given everyone else your whole life, finally turned inward. This isn't about chasing some performance from the past. It's about understanding the man you are now and learning how to support him, touch him, and honor him in a way that actually heals. That's not weakness, that's wisdom, and it's where your next chapter begins. 4. Flush the system, save the self. There's a study that still surprises people when I share it, and honestly, it should. In 2016, researchers at Harvard followed over 30,000 men for nearly 2 decades to explore whether ejaculation had any link to long-term prostate health. What they discovered wasn't small. Men who ejaculated at least 21 times per month had a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer than those who ejaculated just 4 to 7 times. That's not a theory, that's data. And for many older men, it's a wake-up call, because the very thing they were taught to feel ashamed of might actually be helping them stay alive. Your prostate is a working gland. It stores and produces fluid, and when that fluid sits stagnant for too long, problems can start to brew. Inflammation builds. Cellular waste collects. It's like leaving water sitting in a pipe that never flushes. It's more likely to clog, to stiffen, to fail. But regular ejaculation keeps that system moving. It's like a natural rinse cycle for one of your most vulnerable organs. And that's just the beginning. Orgasm also triggers a surge of dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, hormones that don't just feel good, but heal. They lower stress, reduce blood pressure, and balance your nervous system. After orgasm, your body naturally moves into a state of restoration. Your heart rate slows, muscles soften, cortisol drops. It's not fantasy, it's biochemistry. So no, this isn't just about sex. This is about science, about giving your body the signals it needs to stay healthy. And for many men, especially over 60, that means continuing to engage with their body, not out of habit or shame, but with purpose, presence, and care. Because what you do now matters more than ever. 5. Pleasure is your reset button. There's a reason why, after orgasm, you often feel that deep sense of calm, that warmth in your limbs, the quiet in your chest, the gentle heaviness that makes your body want to rest. That feeling isn't random. It's not just about release, it's about reset. Because orgasm, especially at this stage of life, is one of the few moments where your nervous system fully lets go. Your body shifts out of tension, out of overthinking, and into restoration. And that shift carries real, measurable health benefits that go far beyond the bedroom. When you reach climax, your body triggers a flood of hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. These chemicals help lower cortisol, the stress hormone that chips away at your energy, disrupts your sleep, raises blood pressure, and quietly suppresses your testosterone. So when cortisol drops, your body breathes easier, your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, your immune system gets a gentle boost, your mind clears. In that one moment of pleasure, your whole system resets, physically, mentally, emotionally. I think of Leonard, a 72-year-old who came to me complaining of poor sleep and constant fatigue. He'd tried medication, exercise, diet changes, but nothing brought relief. When we talked, it became clear he hadn't experienced a full relaxed release in months. His body was stuck in stress mode, and no one had made the connection. But when he began to allow himself that kind of pleasure again, slowly, mindfully, everything began to shift. His sleep deepened, his energy returned. This isn't just about sex. It's about chemistry. It's about giving your body the signals it needs to heal, to reset, to feel safe again. And it's never too late to remember how powerful that moment can be. 6. Strength begins where you can't see. There's a part of your body you've probably never thought twice about, never seen in a mirror, never felt directly, never been told to care for, but it's been quietly supporting you since the day you took your first steps. It's called the pelvic floor, and for men over 60, it's one of the most overlooked keys to staying strong, steady, and sexually alive. These deep internal muscles don't get much attention, and yet they're responsible for some of the most essential parts of being a man, maintaining erection strength, controlling urination, anchoring your balance, even helping you reach climax. And here's the hard truth. If you're not actively supporting them, they're slowly weakening with time. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because no one ever told you they mattered. I think about Mr. Raymond, a 68-year-old former marathon runner who came into my office confused. He was healthy, ate well, stayed active, but he told me, "Dr. Kapoor, something's off. I can't feel things the way I used to, and sometimes I leak a little when I sneeze." He was embarrassed, but what he was describing wasn't uncommon. It was pelvic floor atrophy, something that creeps in silently as we age, especially when we sit more, move less, and carry years of tension in our lower abdomen. It's not sudden. It doesn't shout. It whispers, quietly reducing your confidence, your control, and your ability to connect with your own body. But the beautiful thing is, these muscles remember. With a little attention, they can reawaken. Each time you reach orgasm, those muscles contract, like a natural exercise routine. Every contraction builds strength. But if you bear down too hard, or rush the experience, or stop halfway, you miss that opportunity. So what you do during solo pleasure matters. When you stay present, when you breathe, when you follow through to completion, you're not just chasing relief. You're caring for a part of your body that's been quietly serving you for decades. And this matters so much more than most men realize, because when your pelvic floor is strong, everything else starts to feel more grounded. Erections feel fuller. Climax comes easier. Urinary control improves. Even your posture shifts. It's like adding scaffolding to your foundation. And you don't need a gym or fancy equipment. Just awareness, just the willingness to stay connected to yourself. Because the truth is, this isn't just about muscles, it's about dignity. It's about reclaiming the strength that never truly left you. It's still there, just waiting for you to turn back toward it. 7. When habit becomes harm. Even though masturbation can support your health, the way it's done matters more than most men realize. I've met many older men who say, "I'm still doing it," but something feels off. Less pleasure, more soreness, less connection, more emptiness. And often the problem isn't frequency, it's habit. When self-pleasure becomes something rushed, mechanical, or disconnected, it can quietly begin to work against you. Take posture, for example. So many men do it sitting hunched forward, maybe on the edge of a chair, or even on the toilet. They stay in that same position for 10, 15, even 30 minutes. And what they don't realize is that posture compresses a sensitive nerve, the pudendal nerve, that directly affects sensation and function in your pelvis. Over time, that pressure can lead to numbness, tingling, reduced sensitivity, or even pelvic pain. And it creeps in slowly, so most men never think to connect the dots. Then there's technique. If you use the same grip, same motion, same speed every time, your body starts to expect that exact stimulation and nothing else. Your brain becomes less responsive to slower, more emotional intimacy. You may find yourself turning to stronger visual stimulation, fast porn, high-intensity clips, just to feel anything. And when that becomes the norm, it's hard to shift back to real-life connection. But none of this is about blame. It's about awareness. Your body is changing, and it's asking for new input, new rhythms, less pressure, more intention. When you begin to approach self-pleasure as something thoughtful instead of automatic, everything starts to feel different, more grounded, more human, and far more satisfying, not just physically, but emotionally too. 8. Change how you touch, not who you are. Getting older doesn't mean your body is broken. It means your body is asking for something different. But no one ever explained what that difference looks like, especially when it comes to intimacy. You might notice it slowly, erections that take longer, orgasms that feel less intense, sensation that's not as sharp. Maybe you feel fine one day and disconnected the next. And it's easy to think, well, I guess this is just age. But that's only part of the truth. What's really happening is that the systems supporting your sexual function, circulation, hormone production, nerve response, muscle control are all shifting. Blood flow isn't as strong. Your pelvic muscles may be weakening. Testosterone dips lower each year. Your brain and body don't fire in perfect sync like they used to. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you need to adjust, just like you've adjusted to everything else life has asked of you. I remember Clyde, 74, telling me, "It's like my body still wants it, but something's missing." And he was right. His desire hadn't gone anywhere. It was his approach that hadn't changed. Once he stopped trying to perform like he was 30 and started paying attention to how his body feels now, everything softened. His pleasure deepened. His confidence came back. The truth is, this chapter isn't about recreating the past. It's about learning how to work with the man you are today, slowing down, letting go of old patterns, meeting your body with curiosity instead of frustration. Because when you do that, things shift. You reconnect. You feel more. You stop chasing performance and start reclaiming presence. And that's where real intimacy lives now. 9. Stay familiar with your body. There's something deeply powerful about staying connected to your own body, not just through movement or nutrition, but through something far more private. At this age, self-pleasure is no longer just a source of release. It becomes something else entirely. A way of checking in, of listening, of making sure things are still working as they should. Most men are never told this, but masturbation can actually help you catch changes in your health before they become problems. It keeps you familiar with your anatomy, how things look, how they feel, how they respond. And when something shifts, you're more likely to notice. I've seen it firsthand. One of my patients, Jerome, 69, came to me after noticing a subtle ache he hadn't felt before. He wasn't panicked, just curious, just paying attention. And because of that awareness, we were able to catch an issue early and treat it with care. That kind of quiet vigilance doesn't come from fear. It comes from staying close to yourself. But there's more to it than just physical awareness. When you self-pleasure with intention, you begin to see the emotional patterns too. Are you doing this because you're lonely, stressed, bored, or because you're feeling connected, alive, present? These questions matter. They help you understand not just how your body is doing, but how your heart is doing too. This is what makes mindful self-pleasure so different from habit. It's not about escaping. It's about returning to your body, to your breath, to your sense of being alive. And when you approach it that way, it becomes less of a routine and more of a quiet, grounding practice. Something that reminds you, gently and consistently, I still matter, I'm still here, and I'm still listening. 10. Adapt with care, not shame. At this stage of life, pleasure isn't about proving anything. It's about staying connected. And the way you approach self-pleasure now should reflect the wisdom you've earned, not the routines you inherited decades ago. I've spoken with so many men who come to me with quiet frustration. They're still engaging with their bodies, but something feels different. Less sensation, more soreness, longer recovery, or a strange emotional emptiness afterward. And more often than not, it's not because they're doing it too much. It's because they're doing it the same way they always have, without realizing that their body, like every part of them, has changed. I think about Franklin, a retired teacher in his 70s, who once told me it felt like his body had gone quiet. But when we talked, it became clear his approach hadn't shifted in over 40 years. Same chair, same grip, same urgency. And his body, like all aging bodies, was asking for something different. So we made gentle changes, softer posture, better support, a touch of lubrication, a slower and more curious rhythm. Within a few weeks, his sensitivity began to return, and with it came something even more powerful, his confidence, his sense of aliveness. When you meet your body where it is, without shame, without resistance, you begin to turn a routine into something restorative. You stop rushing, you start listening, and your body, finally seen and cared for, responds. Because even now, especially now, it wants to be treated with dignity. What I hope you carry with you is this: masturbation at this age isn't about chasing the past. It's about honoring the man you are today. When done with care, it's not indulgent, it's necessary. It's not shameful, it's sacred. Your health, your energy, your sense of self, they're not gone. They're waiting for you to show up differently, with gentleness, with honesty, with presence. You're not done, not even close. And every time you choose awareness over habit, tenderness over hurry, you're not just choosing pleasure, you're choosing life. If something in this video resonated with you, even quietly, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to feel a little less alone. And if this helped, consider subscribing or sharing it with someone you care about. We're all still learning, and I'm truly glad you're here.